we are right now, we have to rewind a little and look at how we got here.
Let's start with a number, 40. That's the number that has defined this entire situation for the last month and a half. 40 days that saw this incredibly dangerous showdown between two major powers. And for those 40 days, we weren't watching some proxy war, fought by other groups. Nope. This was direct. This was a full-on military conflict, with both sides launching attacks, taking hits. It was one of those situations that could have easily spiraled into a much, much bigger global disaster. All right, so how did we get pushed right to the very brink of an all-out war? Let's break down what actually happened during those intense 40 days. When you boil it all down, it was this: a head-to-head clash. No complicated web of alliances to unpack, just a direct military confrontation between the United States and Iran. And believe me, the stakes could not have been higher. The whole world was watching. We saw these massive missile strikes lighting up the night sky, hitting military bases, hitting key infrastructure. At the same time, U.S. aircraft carriers and destroyers steamed into the Persian Gulf, creating this incredibly tense standoff on the water. The damage was real, and the message was crystal clear. This was a military crisis of the highest order. And this wasn't happening in a vacuum. The conflict sent shockwaves everywhere. You saw oil prices jump, stock markets got shaky, and behind the scenes you had diplomats working around the clock, just scrambling to keep things from getting even worse. The entire world was on edge, just waiting to see what would happen next. And then, right when it felt like things were about to escalate even further, something shifted. The sounds of war faded out, and they were replaced by the quiet hum of diplomacy. And that led to, well, a very fragile truce. So what exactly is this? Well, international mediators working through back channels managed to broker a ceasefire. And the two most important words there are temporary and negotiated, right? This isn't a peace treaty, nobody surrendered. It was just a very carefully built pause designed to cool things down for a bit. The deal they landed on was for 2 weeks, just 14 days. It's long enough to take a breath and de-escalate, but it's definitely short enough that nobody's letting their guard down. You can think of it like hitting the pause button, not the stop button. And that fragility, that's the whole story right now. Okay, so that brings us right up to today. While the missiles have stopped flying, all that tension has just shifted and concentrated on one of the most important shipping lanes in the entire world, the Strait of Hormuz. And the message from both sides couldn't be clearer. This is just a pause. This is not the end of it. The military posturing has continued, with both navies basically playing this high-stakes game of cat and mouse out in the Persian Gulf. Right now, U.S. Navy warships are patrolling the Strait of Hormuz. That's the narrow channel where like a third of the world's seaborne oil passes through. And Iran's naval forces are watching them very, very closely. It's like a chess match where one wrong move could have huge consequences for the global economy. And it's not just silent tension. Iran has issued a direct warning. They've said that any U.S. military ship that crosses a certain red line out in the Gulf will be met with force. So yeah, this isn't some quiet truce. It's a ceasefire with some very loud and clear threats attached. So all of this leads us to the big question, right? What happens next? You've got this fragile ceasefire that's about to expire. You've got military tensions running this high. The future is just completely uncertain.